Welcome to the Main Street Business Inside podcast. I'm your host, Matt Wagner, Chief Program Officer at Main Street America, a nonprofit leading a collaborative movement dedicated to strengthening communities through place-based economic development and community preservation. Each week, join me as I travel the country and take a deep dive into the personal journeys of downtown and neighborhood entrepreneurs, the stories that far too often go unnoticed and unheard. Whether you're a small business owner who wants to learn from your peers or a community leader looking to better support your local business base, Main Street Business Insights is here to provide you with the tools, strategies, and personal stories to help you and all of your Main Street businesses thrive. So subscribe now and tune in every Wednesday to get inspired by the individuals driving our communities forward. How is your Main Street planning to celebrate America's 250th? Beacon Design partners with communities like yours to create custom, American-made keepsakes that raise funds and celebrate local pride. These keepsakes turn historic moments into lasting memories, and they're perfect for any community event. Beacon Design will help you create a memorable keepsake that's crafted in the USA and trusted by communities nationwide. So visit beacondesign.com to learn more. Don't just mark the moment, make it memorable. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Main Street Business Inside podcast. I'm your host, Matt Wagner, Chief Innovation Officer at Main Street America. And in this show, I'm going to be spending some time in Hayesville, North Carolina, talking with the multi-generational owners of Tiger's General Store, a beloved community hub that's been serving neighbors and visitors for well over 100 years. Now, a little bit of backstory before we begin. My friend and colleague, Sherry Adams, at North Carolina Main Street, totally had me hooked on going there with one email. So we traveled down to Hayesville, population 492. Yes, folks, that's a 4, a 9, and a 2. But holy smokes, is this place a gem, and it felt as vibrant as a community 25 times its size. Now, part of this relies on a strong small business mix and anchors and a wonderful volunteer force that practically engages the whole town. So in Hayesville, that business, that anchor, it's Tiger's General Store. And the relatively newer addition, the ice cream and soda bar that they've got going on now. Now, joining us is going to be the husband and wife team, along with their daughter, who represents the next generation preparing to carry out Tiger's legacy forward. In the conversation, we're going to explore what it means to steward a family business across generation, what evolves and what stays the same, the balance between tradition and change, and the expectations and opportunities that come with stepping into a family story. It's a look at heritage, entrepreneurship, and the future of Main Street all rolled into one. So enjoy the show, and we'll see you on the other side. All right. I'm here in Hayesville, North Carolina. Very close. I had to ask about where I'm at. Am I in Georgia, North Carolina? I am in North Carolina. And I'm so glad to be with you guys here. Thanks so much for joining the show. And as our listeners kind of know, we start with sort of the history, the journey of the business. And we've got Rob here who's going to tell us a little bit about General Store, the history, and really the legacy of the store within the community. So Rob, take it away.
Well, as far as I know, the business started around 1875 as a sawmill operation with a need for commodities. And my great-grandfather, Peter Tiger, began the business. He moved from New York to Colorado and then to North Carolina. At the time, the timber industry was the main industry here.
Okay.
So he began transporting lumber and chestnuts and lumber products to as far away as Gainesville, Georgia, by ox-drawn wagon, and traded for things like coffee and sugar and flour and necessities.
What time period was this, Rob?
This was mid-1870s.
Wow. Okay, we're going back, folks.
So the the county was formed in 1861. So the county had been around for a few years, and he was by no means one of the earliest settlers,
Yeah.
but he was kind of an entrepreneur, and as the business progressed, he was in a little community, the first store in a little community called Irene, which is doesn't exist anymore. It was about 10 miles north of Hayesville. So that would have been in the Tusquity community here. And his first home was in that area. And then they later moved to another home while still operating stores, more than just one. And his last home that he built was on Shooting Creek, and it still stands with the store building beside it.
Oh, wow.
That was built about 1898.
So the original wasn't even in this location that we're in now?
No.
Okay.
No. They moved it. They moved it into town, but continued to operate the store at his home. Shortly after the turn of the century, I'm a little vague on that, but they bought an existing business here the building set on this footprint.
Okay.
And it's a 2-story frame building. People tell me that it was a green color and it leaned to one side. And he had a sort of a livestock lot in the back that they bartered for chickens and eggs. And he sold ginseng and bought ginseng. So he had buyers that came down to New York and purchased his ginseng. And it was just a true general store.
Yeah.
And as time progressed, it evolved into a little more modern. And he built these existing buildings in 1940 and 41, and had a meat department, produce, and sold clothing and footwear. And then my father later moved the grocery end of it out to another location. And I grew up working in this store when I was 9 years old, bagging groceries. So I've kind of lived my life in these walls.
9 years old.
Yeah. Before child labor laws. And I thought $1 a day was, when I was 9 years old, I thought that flying.
You were flying right now.
For about 2 months, and then I realized that, work is work. So
yeah.
But that's kind of, where we are today, and we've evolved the clothing end of the business into more gifts. Got out of the shoe operation, thankfully, and we have this old soda fountain on the premises that was actually established by a guy named Paul Booth, and was operated by 2 great ladies, Star Bristol and her sister Sarah Wheeler, for 50 years. And I bought the property back in 1997.
So we're in for those of you that are watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see the visuals. We're here in the soda fountain area of the store, which has a different name, right? And then on the other side is the general store that's been around for ages, as you can see. Let's talk a little bit about. I'm sort of curious. We're going to cover a lot of kind of like generational, because we're at 5 generations, Lauren, right? And so I want to kind of get into that a little bit more. One, because it's so rare in American business overall to be able to transfer a business that many times through generations. And Rob, you were 9 starting out. Did you just always know that was going to happen? Did you feel that was an expectation, or you fell in love with it and said, I'm going to do it?
I didn't fall in love with it. No, I honestly didn't plan on doing this, because I worked for my grandfather and my dad. And sometimes as a child, it can be difficult working with parents. So And I went to
Lauren didn't say anything there.
so I went to school, majored in anthropology and archaeology, and that was kind of what I wanted my career path to follow. But my grandfather had helped my brother and I, with school, and he was really wanting to retire, not really retire, but take a lesser part. And when I graduated, I said, I'll give you a year. I'll try it for a year and a half. I really didn't have any intention to stay around. But I lost money for a couple of years. I mean, serious. And I was not going to walk away, with the thing going down.
Yeah.
So I just stuck it out and continued doing archaeology for pretty steadily for 2 or 3 years. I worked on some projects and then finally I realized I needed to devote, full energy to business. And I don't regret it. I mean, it's been fun and it allowed me to get involved in the community. And my grandfather, one thing he always preached to me was that you have to give back. That's a requirement. So it is. You don't argue with that. So I took that to heart. So.
It's just part of the business.
Yeah. So anyway, it was, it's been that kind of relationship with the community and other nonprofit organizations that serve.
So Holly, you married into the business.
I'm married into the business.
So you like you saw it, like you had a somewhat of a choice.
Hearts were in my eyes, so clever. I also had another career too.
Okay.
So along, because I met Rob at
Western Carolina,
Yeah.
right? Which is fairly maybe an hour away, or we're
Yeah,
close.
hour
Yeah.
So, and Rob convinced me that I should live in Hayesville. So, that's what we did. And so I had a really hard time finding a job here because
What was your background in?
social work.
Okay.
You also had to deal with politics. So I couldn't find a job. So I convinced Rob to buy another store.
Oh, okay.
We bought another business in Hiwassee. And it was family too. We called it Anderson. So I worked there.
So you got right into the entrepreneurial swing.
Exactly.
What was that like? Kind of like you've been engaged in social work and now you've pivoted now I'm running a business. What was that like from a mindset?
I grew up working for Sears. That was my job.
So you had a background
I
in
had
retail.
a background in retail.
Yeah.
If you've ever worked for Sears, you're trained in every aspect of the business. And the only way you can increase your pay is move with them.
Okay.
And they always, of course, in hopes that you will join their corporation when you graduate from college. But I didn't.
And Lauren, you're sort of in the same bucket right now, right? So background, and you're working in physical therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And so where are you at in your journey as the next generation?
I'm been a physical therapist for 22 years now. So I lived in Atlanta for the first 15 of that, and then I moved back here in 2017. And so I still work full time as a PT 4 days a week plus, and then I work here the rest of the time. So I'll start to transition into this more. Just benefits are a big deal. So, insurance and that kind of stuff. So
The realities of
just the realities of small business. You don't, it doesn't come with a 401k and insurance, normally. So I'm trying to just kind of balance that out and keep doing both. I do a lot here though. I'm here 2 days a week in the store, and then I do a lot evenings, and I do all the social media for the business, and I go on all the buying trips to the store. So I do a lot. I'm just not always here during the day.
Okay.
So
Let me ask, if you don't mind, was there ever a point in time when you were growing up, was there like a conversation that you just like Rob, did you know this was what you were going to do? Did you talk to your parents about like, yeah, at some point I'm going to do this? Or
No, well, so when I was in high school, my parents made me get a job with someone else. So when I was 15, I took a job at a restaurant, and I also worked at a dental lab. So I would be in here, but I didn't like officially work here. And then when it came time to go to college, they wouldn't allow me to go anywhere that I could come home every weekend. So Chapel Hill is 5 hours away. I couldn't come home every weekend because they knew I needed to leave and I needed my own career. So that was the role. And that was a rough first year. I came home. I mean, I called every day and begged to please just let me come home to Western. I'll just run the store. Made it through the first year, and then into physical therapy I went. So I stayed out there for 6 years. So it was never an expectation, I don't think, from your standpoint. But as I've been here, I mean, I love it. I love all aspects of it. I mean, it's most aspects of it. But I can't imagine not being here and doing this and transitioning again.
She grew up in it too.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
Even though I would have a babysitter, they would always call 5 minutes but they couldn't make it. So she spent a lot of time in the store.
And I came here after school,
Yeah.
usually from when I was
So
in
it was
Hayesville.
just like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she learned to sort. Her sorting was socks. She would take them all off. So you sorted them all back
Yeah.
on the rack. I mean,
Yeah.
there was just, it's just part of your life.
And she went on bike trips when
Yeah.
she was a toddler. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
there were some. I mean, we had some great vendors that were so good to us that we'd go into these. At the time, they were big showrooms. I mean, yeah, it's all different now. But she would hang out in the showroom while we worked the line. And, they'd be just flourishing. So it was, it worked at the time.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work. I don't think it would work now. It'd be hard to take a child into a situation like a apparel mart or gift mart.
Yeah.
It's just,
Okay. The times have shifted.
yeah, it's really it's kind of bedlam. You just constantly under the gun.
Yeah.
Time wise.
Was there a thought in as parents in your head that, okay, Lauren needs to be away? Is there some internal sort of thing telling you, I want it to be her decision. I don't want her to feel like this is an expectation or she has to. So let her go, build her career. Like, as parents, what were you thinking?
It was always, we knew it had to be her decision.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
that's why I wanted her to have her own career.
Yeah, they never talked about me taking this over. That
Yeah.
was never a discussion. It's just evolved that way. Especially as I've been back here more. So
yeah, I think it's better that way.
One of the things, Rob, you were talking about is when you took over the business and how some of the evolution, whether it's this or even in some of the, maybe moving in more outdoor kind of, outdoor rec kinds of things. Lauren, now with you coming more and more into the business and with societal shifts to new consumer trends or e-commerce and bricks, like what do you sort of bring to the business? What's your thinking from an evolution perspective?
I think just trying to stay as on trend as you can be, but not lose the history of everything. So, I mean, social media and all that, just trying to get the word out there, and then trying to help people. I think in my generation, the younger generation, just realize that. I wrote a letter to the editor before Shop Small Saturday last year, just about yes, they're having all the big box stores and Amazon. They do this and this, but who sponsors your school events, and who sponsors your fundraisers, and who gives the gift certificates, and who employs your kids so that they can have a high school job? Like, you can't forget the little people. So just trying to bring that realization in, and then just staying up with what's new and fresh. And I mean, luckily we have teenagers that work for us, and so I'm always kind of asking them what they like, and then just trying to pay attention to what's trending. When we go to the shows, that's kind of, I tell the sales people that are in the showrooms are just, like Dad said, they're just kind of crazy. Like, there's people everywhere. you just kind of, I'm like, you pull me what's been good, and then I'll pick from there, because what I might pick is may not be what's super popular or trending. So you just kind of have to roll with it and trust that they know what they're talking about, and then just really watch that.
Yeah, yeah. Are there things that you are thinking about that might run counter to how your parents may run the store?
I mean, we get in arguments about, not major arguments, but we disagree on some things. I don't know. I mean,
Rob's like adjusting his shirt collar right now. You can't
and
see that.
unfortunately, they raise a fairly opinionated, stubborn child. But I mean, I think I'm on board. I don't feel like we need a computer system, and people ask that. People call and they're like, "Oh, we want to sign you up for a POS system." We don't have computers, and I'm like, "No, that's not. It's just not going to happen." Like not during my dad's lifetime anyway, and probably not. I don't really have any interest in that. I mean, sometimes we have to argue a little bit about what we bring in or what's trending or what I think would do versus what they think we should do. But we usually work it out and come to an agreement. It kind of works its way out.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Yeah, well, one thing I didn't get a lot of pushback on, I thought I might, is we began incorporating some fairly edgy stuff into maybe some gift items, and on occasion I've taken Black visitors that come in. They'll rearrange your stock so that these things that look a little off kilter to them go in the back so other people can't see.
Okay.
And, but what I found is people, everybody wants to sort of be a little bit of a renegade.
Yeah.
And you can do it without carrying it on your sleeve.
Yeah, there's a balance there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
We drove through a few of those places. I was looking for the sign names. Look it up, folks. Maybe we'll put it in the show notes. Just speaking of like transitions in, what we see, especially in like smaller towns or smaller markets, where you're trying to capture your local market, tourism markets, but certainly there is this, the whole like bricks and clicks strategy. Has that been something that you all have tackled or tried to tackle or thought about, given your sort of the legacy of this operation?
Are you talking about online?
Yes.
We did it during COVID, just to have an option for people to buy things. And we had people that used it, and we did, but it's a lot of work. So you really need another person to run that, and keep up with it. And so we had a website and we could order online, but we took it, we have since stopped that. Maybe in the future, but it's so much work, and we have so much inventory, that keeping track of all that
Everything up.
is just, and not having a computerized inventory that we use. It was like an extra job that we just ran out of time to do once traffic picked back up, all that.
Yeah.
after COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good lesson for, because I think there's probably like pressure coming from multiple sides about like, how do you infuse technology into the business? There's so many different options. How much can you afford to allocate and get the payoff
Yeah.
you need for it?
And we do a decent amount. People see things on Facebook or Instagram, and they'll contact us. Can you ship this? So we do that, and that's always an option. So
Yeah, exactly. For
yeah.
social commerce.
Yeah,
Call
and
it, I guess.
that's enough for now. So that's enough. It's as I'm sure you hear from all small businesses, finding staff is a challenge. So we need people that are here and working with customers. So adding someone to do that is just we've got to focus on what's most important right now.
Between the two store, how many people are you employing right now?
Time. Got 7.
Okay.
One adult, and then, one adult, one 20-something, and then the rest are high schoolers.
I think it's so cool that you're giving opportunities to high school students, because it really shows what running a small business is like, and the real world of work. And
yeah,
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, and they're important.
Yeah, I think
store.
for me, one of the reasons to get involved in this was to be able to provide some jobs to you. and a job in a safe environment. It's not like working at Ingalls, or it's not like working at Walmart. There's sort of a community feel, and hopefully they get some good skills and working with one-on-one with people.
Yeah, we there's been a lot of those conversations of late about young people and their ability to, if you answer a phone, what's that like? How do you have a conversation with someone
Yeah,
that's not online?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a challenge.
Yeah,
It's
but
definitely a challenge.
really important skills that they're learning. I want to pivot a little bit to the community side. You sort of started to get into it a little bit more, but I have found with what I would call like institutional businesses, I mean, there is in many ways, I suspect that how people think about Hayesville from the outside or even inside is somewhat connected to the store. Like there is some brand connection between the store's brand and the community's brand. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about um, the sort of expectation or if there's any pressure that you feel about the store's success, the store's legacy relative to the community.
I've always kind of made it a habit to be involved in community goings on, and I'm over the years I've been on boards of most of the nonprofits in the community, and that's one thing this little town is gifted with. There's 4 really strong nonprofits right in the city limits, and then there's others. We've all been involved in nonprofits that serve the community over the years. I think that's, if you're in a business, you in a small town, you've got to get involved. You, like my grandfather said, you got to figure out ways to give back.
Yeah.
And so I think, just doing that, being a face out there on the streets, and in projects, and I think that's really, really important. If you own a small business,
Yeah,
in some way, maybe I do too. I kind of go overboard sometimes, but it's
Holly's shaking her head like, yes, you knew.
As far as the pressure, I mean, we do have a ton of people that come in and say, oh, anytime I have a company in, I bring them in here.
Yeah.
Anytime family comes, we come here. It's our favorite place to come. So I think there is a pressure to make sure you have something that's going to make everyone happy. But I think that just goes back to kind of staying up with, knowing what we sell best, keeping up with the trends so that you've got the younger generations. I mean, we've got, for example, we have a family that comes in. I believe they've been coming in since their oldest daughter was a year-ish, and now she's 11. So every year they come in, and she gets $20, and that's it. No more, no less. She gets $20, and she will spend an hour in here picking out what she's going to buy. But that just being able to keep up with things that from that age range likes, and hopefully forever. So I think it's just nice to see those people, but it's just there is some pressure just in making sure we're staying up to date, but having those things that you also can't just find everywhere else. Like if they're coming from Atlanta or coming from a bigger city, like we try to have some different things so that they're like, oh yeah, I can find that here versus, the big box store somewhere else.
Exactly. Keeping up, I think I can imagine, I can't put myself in your shoes, but everyone in this community or people that have visited this community have some frame of how they think about what the store is or should be or what have you. And you're trying to, in essence, answer and respond to all of that. Keep nostalgia, keep moving forward. Boy, it seems like a whack-a-mole sometimes, I suspect it.
Oh, it is a total crapshoot on what is going to sell and what, they say in retail, like buy 1 of what you like and 12 of what you don't like. And
I've not heard that, so thanks for putting that on the show.
I've heard that from several people. So yes, so it's not, most of the time, I may not like several things, but that's probably what will sell first.
But we always call and tell each other something else that we did not like.
What's if we could look out a few years, what's sort of the hopes and dreams for the store? Where do you see the store going? And you may each have different perspectives on that.
I'll let that go first.
I hadn't thought about that too much. I mean, Lauren will, I guess, hopefully continue the operation. Beyond her tenure, I don't know. I mean, it's because it does take it takes a lot of time. And I don't regret putting the amount of time into the business that it's taken to make it work. But everybody has a different philosophy about work ethic, and so I don't know. I hope it continues, but we don't have any grandkids, so whatever happens is on her.
No pressure there, Lauren.
My patients ask me what I'm going to do, and I'm like, I'm going to put an apartment in the back, and I'm just going to be scooping ice cream on my walker. So that's what I always say. So I don't know. I mean, my plan is to keep it going as long as I can, but I don't have children. So, and I can have 5 children, and none of them
could take
want to stop. So there's not a reason to, I always think about that, but I'm like, there's no guarantee that they would want to do, because it is a lot of time. I mean, I work a 10-12 hour day at the clinic, and then I come here. I was here until 10:30 last night working on things, but I'm also a horrible delegator, and I like things my way. So I go around and
know your strengths.
Yeah. Well, strengths are weaknesses. I don't know, but
either way.
But it is a lot of time. Social media. I mean, I take pictures and do those things. And we try to be open when there's things in the community. So we stay open late on Friday nights when there's concerts. We stay open on Sundays when there's events going on. We try to just be supportive of everything going on and encourage that people walk around and visit other stores and just get out in the community. So it is, like Dad said, it's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Just not during just 4 hours.
One of the things that really worries me now is that so many people don't have a sense of place, and so they don't have that connection to where they live that they really care about. I mean, it's just where they live, and they don't have, they may go, and it's almost like they're programmed not to aspire to stay there and create a business, but to go somewhere else for someone else, which is what Holly said. I don't know how we break that. I love when people come in here and want to know about the history of the area or the history of the store, or what's going on next week. I think I think our nonprofits have created a real magnet with a ton of events here. If someone can't find something to do in this little county, then I don't know, they're not hungry for real fun. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, and it's a challenge too, going from that. It's amazing the number of people that have lived here for many years and they've never been to downtown. They're like, oh, this is the first time I've been here.
I thought half the community was out front, the farmers market, just a little bit.
So it will amaze you. That always is like, oh, okay. And then people that just aren't aware of what's going on in town. So, I mean, on our social media and our posters and signs, I mean, I have everything posted, everything that's going on in downtown Hayesville in July. And we post that. I share that on everything. Because if you don't bring people into downtown to your area, if you're not supportive of all of those things and participate, then you're not going to have business because people aren't going to know to come here. So, and just people need to get out and enjoy what they have. I mean, they think they have to go to Nashville to hear some amazing music, whereas we have the Peacock and Dad's Songwriter Showcase bringing Nashville to here. So people just think that they have to go somewhere else, I think, to find something good. And that's just a mindset that we have to try to squelch a little bit. Or, oh, it's going to be better if I get it online. I had a customer just the other day that she bought a children's book and she was like, well, I was just going to order this online, but I found it here. And those are like, that's like music to my ears. I mean, that is like what we want. So, because if you can buy it from a small business, that's also then paying taxes back to your community. Those taxes are going to your roads, to your police department, to your schools, to the store that, does sponsor the PTO event or the fundraiser, or we support the farmers market. I mean, that's what it's about. And I think I think we've gotten a long way away from that in the state. And so that's my goal, is just to promote and talk and, try to get even my generation, it's so easy to sit and click at 10 o'clock at night on your computer and order something, versus supporting your small business, but in your community by doing so. So we've just really got to do that. And again, with the kids, just teaching them to have some initiative and some conversation skills and some growth. But, I grew up with people saying that, oh, you must be rich, your parents in a store. Well, anyway, so, we were comfortable, but we're not, rich by any means. I think people also in that realm of starting your business, like, it's not all fun and games. Like, yes, it sounds amazing. Oh, you have a store. It must be so fun to, see all the clothes and go to the shows. And it is, but then there's the other side of, everything else. And I think you were talking about the podcasts, only the 21 is like the magic number. And I think people in a store, you have a slow week and then you're like, well, I'm not going to come in. I'm going to be closed today. Or I'm going to close early today. If you're not consistent with your hours and someone shows up twice and you're not there, like, you're kind of done. So you really have to just stay the course. You have to stay the course. You have to just be there on the days that no one else is there, and do the things. Otherwise, you're going to be disappointed.
Well, there was about, I think between the three of you, there was about 100 pieces of awesome advice in that. Wow. So we're going to have to pull out like individual clips of all of that. I just can't thank you enough for allowing me to come in. And I'll say it again for my colleague who's not on camera, Sherry from North Carolina Main Street, like how appreciative, because she wrote the emails. She's like, you've got to come and talk to the folks from Tigers. And I'm like, yeah, definitely. So thank you so much. Congratulations on the legacy but also the future that you've created here and for the wonderful things you're doing for the community. It truly makes a difference.
Well, thank you, Cherry.
Yeah.
We appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you.
Really.
And we'll be celebrating our 150th year at some point this year. In October, I think, maybe. So stay tuned.
Isn't it? All right. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back. What an absolute pleasure that was, spending time with Rob Tiger and his family at Tiger's General Store in Hayesville, North Carolina. Now, this is a business that's not just about goods and ice cream, although it was delicious, but carrying forward a family and community tradition for more than 100 years. I mean, it's unbelievable. The conversation with the current owners and their daughter reminds us that while small businesses evolve with generations, their hearts and purpose often remain the same. We learned important lessons from both sides of the generational shift equation. The balance between yearning to see your family's legacy continue, of course, but weary of putting that pressure and transferring your dreams perhaps to your own child. And how in some cases we assume the next generation is thinking about sweeping changes to the business, but often they see value in maintaining the culture and feel of what already exists. So that's going to do it for this show. And as always, if you're a business owner, and likewise to my police professional colleagues out there, I hope this episode has provided plenty of new insights, solutions, and inspiration. And as consumers, please continue to support your local small businesses and tell their stories. They're so important to our local and national economies, and most importantly, they promote and provide quality living to the places we all call home. And don't forget to show your Main Street pride. I'm wearing it right now if you're watching the video, by checking out our Main Street swag at shopmainstreet.org. Thanks for listening. Please rate and review us, and always be sure to subscribe and tell your friends, family, pets, neighbors, and colleagues. So until next time, thanks for all your support.